Thanks for joining our presentation today on risk-based asset renewal. So this presentation outlines a powerful approach to scheduling and selecting condition assessment, repair, rehab, and replacement projects for aging pipeline systems. Pipeline systems are comprised of numerous components and materials of various ages and design lives. Many of these systems need some form of renewal now or in the short term to maintain their ability to meet service level requirements. However, in strict contrast to performing repair, on design life or a condition score, we believe a risk-based approach is more effective in the scheduling and selection of renewal investments. So what is risk-based renewal? RBR is a decision-making process supporting year-over-year cash flow optimization based on the premise that some assets may have a useful service life exceeding design life. Some assets may be more suited to a fail and fix strategy, and some assets may require accelerated replacement due to their monetized criticality. And finally, some assets just may be more suited to rehab versus outright replacement. What is risk-based renewal really all about? So consider cumulative cost of owning an asset over time. Normal O&M costs are generally stable over time. However, risk or marginal costs tend to grow over time. These costs include unplanned repair, maintenance and failure related costs, and the resulting consequences. So risk-based renewal is about putting in place strategies to manage this risk curve to an acceptable level. Let's take a look at this a little further. Asset renewal projects include the numerous options that are available to assess, repair, rehab, and replace an asset. So from a risk standpoint, taking a look at this graphic in the solid red expected risk curve, these projects move the risk curve towards optimal risk, or they keep the curve from shifting to a higher risk scenario. So mitigation strategies are then born out of this kind of analysis. The previous slide showed how these strategies are created and the types of projects that could be considered. Rehab, repair, renewal, replacement. Now, how do we use risk to determine optimal scheduling of renewal? You can see that renewal action based just on design life could drive an early replacement decision. Understanding your risk threshold, or how much risk you're willing to tolerate or manage, the actual renewal action could be much later. We often see this on reticulation pipeline mains and services. Looking at this further, there's an optimal point of investment based on the net present value of a renewal investment over time. In other words, there's a point in the future where the total cost of repairs plus the NPV is optimal, and this is the point where cash flow outlay is best. This can be determined through this risk-based approach. So what does the risk-based renewal process look like? Well, first, you obviously need to know your strategic objectives and required levels of service, because these are what drives the overall process. So data and criteria are provided to the risk model, and the risk model generates monetized results, which are then aggregated and prioritized. Projects are evaluated, and then both short and long-term renewal plans are developed. Pipeline system data is then integrated from asset owner and public sources and processed through this risk model. It's all purpose to the owner's requirements. So this output here is just showing you the disparity in the kinds of data that are managed within the risk model. Risk results are generated and represent the probability of failures for different time-dependent and independent threat types, which are then multiplied by direct and indirect consequence types, resulting in a monetized annual risk for each asset. This output shows risk levels close to or exceeding the asset owner's requirements in the short term. So those results then can be looked at along a time scale here. So they're consolidated into a long and a short-term plan. Now note that the blue bars indicate assets exceeding risk threshold criteria year over year and their respective renewal costs, whereas the orange bars indicate renewal based strictly on design life. So there's a big difference here. So you can see in this case that the risk-based renewal approach provides a more levelized projection of investment cash flow based on risk thresholds and not just design life. Once these short-term spend levels are determined, logical project areas are then selected and project alternatives are evaluated using the same risk-based fundamentals and process. So different types of projects then for these areas are run through the risk model, and we generate benefit cost ratios, IRRs, discounted IRRs for the projects, and we compare these to the asset value basis and other threshold criteria to select the most favorable projects. So the value of risk-based renewal then is it supports the optimization of annual cash flow, ensuring that resources are directed to the highest areas of risk. It selects the best projects to reduce risk over a desired time frame, and it supports sound financial planning. So this has been a quick overview of risk-based asset renewal. If you should have any kind of questions, please reach out at expertinfrasolutions.com. Be more than happy to explain this in more detail. Appreciate you guys watching. Talk later. Bye.